So our next story isn't directly related to Linux, but you'll actually see how it all ties together. Pretty crazy week for the Tor network. Silk Road was shut down, and Silk Road was a marketplace that was hidden on the Tor network.
Right.
And a lot of people have wondered, is the Tor network vulnerable? Is there something wrong with Tor? It actually, to me, when I look through all of the documents, I've read all of the recent articles published by The Guardian, by Bruce Schneier, and now also by Ars Technica.
Sure.
It comes down to, don't use Tor if you're using Windows. Really. If you want to be safe online, and if for some reason, if you're doing anything that you think might flag you for monitoring from a government institution.
That's true. You're using an operating system with like backdoors out the back door, and you're going to run Tor.
So check this out, Matt. Yeah, exactly. So check this out. So classified memos and training manuals, which were leaked by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden and then reported on by The Guardian, show that the NSA and the UK-based government communications headquarters at GCHQ are able to bypass Tor protections, but only against select targets and often with considerable effort. They said one presentation slide grudgingly hailed Tor as the king of high secure, low latency internet anonymity. Another slide was titled Tor stinks and lamented that we'll never be able to de-anonymize all Tor users all the time. However, one prominent technique for monitoring terrorists and other people using Tor was dubbed egotistical giraffe. It involves exploiting vulnerabilities contained in the software bundle that Tor makes available to users. One attack targeted serious bug in Firefox. Now, I've been reading up on this. They have a series of the NSA and the GCHQ have a series of Windows 2003 servers tied in directly to the backbone of the internet service providers. And this system is called Fox Acid. Fox Acid, Firefox Acid, wow. Fox Acid. NSA defines it as an exploit orchestrator. And what they do is they determine the vulnerabilities on a person's PC. And then when you go to a website, either a Tor site or a real site, they catch your traffic first before it's called a race condition, and they catch it before the actual website does, because if you have Comcast as your ISP, they have a server in Comcast's closet, so that responds a lot faster than the server in California does. Then they intercept your traffic, they analyze it for the exploits possible, and then they apply an exploit based on a whole library of Perl scripts to your machine. And what I read through a lot of this is they are fundamentally taking advantage of vulnerabilities in, when available, Firefox, but more often in Windows itself. They are using vulnerabilities in Windows to identify you, and then not just identify you, but they actually have the ability to watch. They have the ability to tag your PC, and then they watch everywhere you go on the internet. They just tag Matt, and then they just have a log of everything you do.
And I think that's where the biggest scare is it's not the, are they identifying me as a terrorist? It's how they're identifying you as potentially being a terrorist, in that something totally innocent gets labeled as weird. Okay, we're going to watch him now. And then through connection of dots, it's like, oh, these things together, by themselves, they're perfectly normal, but together they start looking a little suspicious. That makes me a little nervous. That's kind of, I'm not really comfortable with that.
Schneier writes, NSA nodes dubbed as Quantum were able to respond to requests faster than the server end user could visit. Schneier called this, and he shows a top-secret diagram, which I'm not sure if it's been pulled.
Probably.
Here they are. So here is an NSA diagram of how they do a man-in-the-middle attack against Google. So you see the request from Google comes in. They have a man-in-the-middle server that's running Windows Server 2003 that is their exploit orchestrator. They catch your traffic, and here they can choose to tag you, they can choose to apply an exploit against you, or they can just pass your traffic along and monitor it. And their options dramatically go up if you have JavaScript enabled in your Tor bundle and if you're using Windows. And if you're using Linux and you have an up-to-date Tor bundle, there's practically nothing they can do at this point to track
At this point. And so I think that's the big piece of it. It reminds us of two very important things. They want in badly enough, eventually, maybe 10 years down the road, 5 years down, I don't know, they'll eventually get it. Secondly, what the hell? This whole thing just sucks.
Thrifty Spend is pointing out in our live chat, I mean, you can't, if you think they don't have exploits for Mac and Ubuntu or Linux, whatever, you're insane. That's true. However, reading these documents
makes it more difficult, but
Well, and reading these documents, the people they have caught are based on Tor bundle exploits, or more specifically Firefox exploits.
That's true, and low-hanging fruit is generally easier to go after. It keeps the guy that's doing the exploits employed, and makes him look good. So yeah, he's going to go for the low-hanging fruit.
Well, what this exploit orchestrator actually does is, so the easiest way for them to track you on Tor because Tor is very good, is to have the number one tool in the NSA's chest, or the GCHQ, or really probably even bad guy hackers, is local exploits. Because if you locally exploit the machine, doesn't matter if you're using Tor, doesn't matter if you're using a VPN, doesn't matter if you're using SSH. If you can locally exploit that rig, you got it.
All your efforts are for naught because they're over here, and it's localized.
They literally, the NSA literally has a department of hundreds and hundreds of people that are staffed at going through Windows vulnerabilities, finding the ones they can add to the library. And according to Schneier, if they determine you're a more savvy user, get this. If they determine you're a more savvy user and might detect their trick, their bag of tricks, they don't step it up. They actually use like a lower rated vulnerability because they figure, well, if they find us, we don't want them to know our sophistication level. So they'll actually use like a weaker exploit if they think you're going to find them.
Although, and as a benefit, that is the lower hanging fruit thing. They're going to take take that angle going back. But the whole thing just sucks. I mean,
the other thing they've been doing is they've been buying ads on Google ad networks that put cookies on your machine, and then they track you based on every time you hit a site with that cookie. So it's
okay. So AdBlock Plus and DuckDuckGo.
This is just the reason why I bring this up. The reason why I bring this up is because this is the dawn of the new opportunity for Linux. The new problem now. Linux is not invulnerable. It is not perfect, but it is, like Matt says, it is not the low-hanging fruit.
It's not. And boy, you talk about making a really good, in a world type of infomercial for Linux. Here it is. In a world where your computer can be exploited by three-letter agencies.
If you've got friends, family, or clients, or yourself who are concerned about financial transactions online, or you want a certain sense of security, probably time to start recommending Linux to those people.
Yeah. Because, you look at these exploits, it's like, oh, got malware. Oh, that's okay. That's that NSA one. That's fine. It's still malware. The Ars Technica article that we have linked in the show notes links to a Bruce Schneier write-up, and he talks about how they specifically have malware that bypasses all commercial antiviruses. So they specifically have tailored it so that way if you're running antivirus or anti-malware on a Windows box, it is not a barrier to them at all. And to all the people who in years past said I was an idiot for saying that the whole entire security industry was complete crap, there you go. There's your sign. I've been saying it for years.
Right. Yeah.
They're for sale.
We've covered there is a huge black market or gray market. It's actually illegal, where people just sell exploits.
Yeah.
And governments just buy them up. We've talked about this a lot on TechSnap, and it's unfortunate to see like so many of them just completely run over antivirus software.
Yeah. Again, I've seen it. It's not shocking. I know for a fact. I've actually dealt with a company that was falsely flagged at times. I've seen this happen. Money changes hands.
Schneier says, and I don't know about ClamAV, but Schneier says all commercial antivirus solutions are affected. All of them. He says there's not a single one that is not affected. So I don't know about ClamAV.
And I think ClamAV is not counted as commercial because there's no commercial vested interest there. So they may be safe, but even still, are they up to date enough to catch some of this stuff? I don't know.
So, Matt, I just wanted to put that out there. We're kind of following that. It gets more. We cover that more in Tor, more of the Tor and security stuff in TechSnap and Unfiltered, but it is becoming a Linux issue because Linux users are savvy enough to run Tor nodes to help the Tor network out. They're savvy enough to protect themselves, and now this is one more thing that we kind of just have to maybe look out for folks that
don't rely on apps to protect you. That's the best advice I have. Just use common sense.